Welcome back to Gut Feelings Life Unfiltered. So, today, guys, we are joined by a really powerful voice in the women's health and fitness space. Her name is Amy Patrick, and Amy is known as the Midlife Muscle Mentor. She is a holistic nutrition and strength coach who helps women over 40 rebuild muscle, restore their metabolism, and feel strong, confident, and energized again. She combines strength training, simplified nutrition, nervous system support, and mindset work to help women break free from diet culture and create sustainable results in midlife. And what I really do love about her work is that she's not only talking about weight or aesthetics, but she's really helping women help step into a completely different relationship with their body, their health, and this phase of life. So we are so excited to have Amy on. We know that our listeners are going to just absorb all of this because this is like a big piece of the puzzle that Melissa and I have talked about, but I love your approach on it. And I love how I think complete you are. And even talking about the nervous system and
I
cortisol,
know.
I'm like, oh my God, yes, yes.
I
Love
don't
all of
think
this.
not a lot of people are doing this, Amy. Like,
No.
you are definitely changing the world through what you're doing because like the health gurus out there, they're like, lift heavy, that's it. Like they have their thing that they stand on, and you stand on so many things, but the nervous system and like how we are in our 40s and beyond that, like it's just such a I just really love your message. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel like this is a gift. I was telling you, ladies, before we jumped on, you do such a good job of bringing women's health issues to light in a fun, approachable, digestible way. And I'm so happy to be in the conversation with you because I think there's so much information out there, right? We're not in a we're not in an information drought anymore. We have
Oh,
so much information. But how do women take all of that noise and implement it into their lives in a meaningful way and customize it for them? And so I'm so happy to talk to you about this today because that is something I feel is really important. How do we integrate our all those big pillars with all the information out there and make it really dynamic and just approachable for women so
yeah.
that we don't feel so overwhelmed and so stressed out all the time?
I love
Yeah.
that. I mean, so
You,
there's oh, go ahead, Jen, sorry.
no, you go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to know because a lot of women out there are like, especially in their 40s, where they're like, "Oh my god, I just feel like everything's working against me. Like I'm working so hard, I'm checking all the boxes." And from your perspective, what would you say is actually happening with them in this midlife time, this season that they're in?
Such a great question. And I just had a new client intake yesterday, and it's this resounding message of I don't understand my body anymore. I'm
Mm,
doing all the same things I used to do. I'm doing my workouts. I Most of the women who come to me are active, but not in the same way that their bodies actually need right now. So they're eating what quote unquote clean, they're moving their bodies, they're getting their steps. But what's changed is our physiology. So the things that used to work in our 20s and 30s, and even sometimes early 40s, are now kind of stacking against us, where they're not only not helping, but they're also contributing to more fat storage, less energy, more sleep issues, and it all starts to compound. And then what happens, because you guys I'm sure can relate and your audience can relate, is that then we try to grip harder because we've grown up in diet culture. And so when we
mm,
wanted to lose weight or get into a healthier state, we worked harder. We needed to cut calories, we needed to increase our workouts, sweat it out, drive it out, push, push, push. And that's so much of what's out there too is, oh, just cut your calories, like calories in, calories out, or just eat cleaner. But again, that is not going to work for our midlife physiology. So we need to kind of flip the playbook and just adopt some different strategies. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be quote unquote hard. But now we need to layer in things like our nervous system, which as you two can relate to, I learned the hard way. And I was in the health and wellness industry, right? And we also need to kind of switch the tactics on our nutrition a little bit, but then we also are working our strength training from a different angle too. So it's just about kind of understanding that the playbook has changed, not beating yourself up for it,
Mm.
but getting the
Thank
tools
you.
to do it, right? Like that's
Mhm.
again, women come to me and it breaks my heart because again, they push harder. And when that doesn't work, they feel worse about themselves. And then that leaves us stuck. And then they have 27 supplements in their Amazon cart. They have 27 tabs open on menopause and what to do for it. And they're all different. And that overwhelm just keeps compounding the stress response too. So it's,
Yeah.
we're in this really swirly stage and then add in the emotion and the hormones on top of that. So women feel very lost. And oftentimes in the traditional medicine world, they're just told, well, this is just how it is. You're in your 40s now. You're going to be tired. You're going to be fatigued. You're not going to have a libido. Just kind of deal with it. And I really reject that entire philosophy and think that this can be our most empowering stage of life. And we just need to put those pillars into place that will support us to do that.
I
Wow. Yeah,
love
I
that.
feel like that this stage of our life is the most honest. Like we
Right.
can't hide. There's no shortcut. There's no it's like we are able to stand in the space of like truly knowing ourselves if we want to, if we really want to. And the, all everything that you said is so beautiful. And I'm sure there's so many listeners that are like, I feel like she sees me.
Mm. 'Cause
Yes.
I was that. I was
Mhm.
teaching 13 group fitness classes. I owned a wellness studio, so I was teaching
Wow.
13 group fitness classes a week. I was starting to get puffier and my joints ached. My studio was upstairs. I remember like walking up the stairs going, "What in the world?" My knees ached. I would go in the bathroom before a class and I would just kind of give myself a pep talk like, "Okay, you can do this, girl. Let's go in, bring it." Because I want to bring my energy when I'm leading and instructing and guiding. And it just things really shifted right about 40. And that kind of opened this world for me like, what is changing? What is happening? And that's when I really dove into perimenopause, menopause. I didn't even know that I was going through perimenopause at that
Yeah.
stage, right? It just kind of hit like a ton of bricks, which is again what I hear from a lot of my clients. It just kind of came out of nowhere. And so just flip the switch on the group fitness of the boot camps and the step class and the kickboxing and the cardio and the go, go, go all the time. I was the woman who was taking like a booty yoga class that was so fast paced and dance and strength. And at
Mhm.
the end, when it was time for Shavasana, I couldn't do it. I literally got up and I'd be
Mm.
like, guys, I got to go. My son's got hockey. And there were times he did, but there were other times when I was like, "Oh, that's dumb. I don't wanna lay down on a mat for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Like, why would I do that? I gotta go. I
Yeah.
got things to do." And at the time, I didn't understand that at all, but looking back now, my nervous system was not safe to rest, to
Yes.
recover. It was just like, "No, that's lazy. That is unproductive." And that's where some of this mindset switch really helps women is when we start to look at we need more recovery. We
Uh-huh.
need to not, sweating isn't the sign of a good workout anymore. So the recovery piece, how we're working out, and then how we support our bodies with nutrition. Again, we're not restricting and punishing with food. We can enjoy our meals, but we just want to be intentional with that. And that comes to consistency. So, not perfection, which again is where our brains tend to go with diets. I'm going to do
Yeah.
this and I'm going to do it well and I'm going to check all the boxes. And then when we start to kind of drift and not check the boxes, then it's like, well, I'm not doing anything. And then we start again on Monday or we start the new year. And
Yeah.
that kind of system also really does a number one on our metabolism, but also on our mindset. And I'm so passionate about getting women out of that rut of diet perfection binge, and all the emotion that goes with that, the guilt, the shame. And then, Melissa, you mentioned it earlier. This can be such a wonderful stage of life, but if you're not comfortable and confident in your body and feel good in it, no matter where you are at with what weight, what you weigh, or what gene size you are, you will limit yourself. you will not enter the rooms for your career, for your family. I've seen women hiding in their family pictures, and that is just
Yeah.
heartbreaking to me because those are your memories and you should be a part of that. So I'm so adamant that women really step up in this stage of life and turn some of that nurturing energy back on themselves in a way that will support them. And then that ripples out into every other area of their life for sure.
Yeah. I want to dive into the nervous system piece a little bit more because we do know and a lot of our listeners know that like cortisol can contribute to that belly fat, that puffiness, and I would love to know how you kind of filter that into your programs and how you address that piece.
Definitely. And this has been something that's been really exciting for me to layer in as I've learned myself to layer that in and really prioritize that. So, right, we learn, we assimilate, and then we can share. But for just for women out there too to understand, like it's not anything you're doing wrong either. So
Mm.
when our estrogen starts to fluctuate and decline, it is an anti-inflammatory hormone, right? So the body in its infinite wisdom is like, well, we need to support that. Then we're gonna increase our cortisol because cortisol is also an anti-inflammatory that way. So then women are like, why am I so? And then we lose our, we start to fluctuate in progesterone, which is our wonderful calming hormone. And then things that never used to bother us are, my husband likes to tap his fingers. And now I'm like, I am having his little neck right now because he keeps tapping his fingers. Like things like that would just before. Now women are like, it's driving me crazy. And we think we're
Mhm.
losing our minds. Like
Mhm.
we're, what we joke about it, but there is this sense of like, what is going on with me? I have no patience. I am always irritable. And so, our stress, I like to call it like a stress bucket. So we have all of the
Yes.
things added in. Poor nutrition choices are a stressor on the body. Not moving your body or moving your body too much are a stressor on the body. Then we think about the emotions and then the deadlines and the to-dos and the laundry and all that comes in. And as in midlife, our bucket gets a little smaller. So
Mm.
it's starting to overflow more. And then, like I said, women try to pile more in instead of seeing, well, what's draining me? Where can I remove? Where can I set
Mm.
some boundaries? So, those are the things I like to talk to my clients about. Energy leaks, number one. Where are we leaking energy? Is it with a family member? Is it at your job? Is it in your schedule? Women will talk to me about time. And then when we really dig in a loving and curious way, we do an audit on their time. And I ran a midlife revive group, a short program a few months ago, and I had them monitor their social media time and their time on their phones. And it was shocking for women. They could not believe how many times, number one, they either picked up their phone throughout the day, how much time they spent on their phone, and then with social media. So, one of the biggest things we'll talk about is how are you anchoring your day in the morning and in the evening? Because that's when women tend to scroll. And that just ignites, you guys talk about it all the time, but your dopamine response from the scrolling, and then it ignites this comparison. And we always feel behind, and we then get all of this information overload. And that's how we're starting our day. And
Yeah.
so you can already tell that cortisol, when cortisol is naturally higher in the morning, and then we just start to amp it up, amp it up, amp it up. And then a lot of women don't eat breakfast. Or if they
Mhm.
do, it's a granola bar and a coffee out the door. They're not getting a good quality protein in. So we're just stacking the day almost against us within the first hour.
Mhm.
So the morning time, if I could impart anything, is such a beautiful opportunity to impact your fat loss. So, and I'm really strong on this lately. I like to say, I am not your weight loss coach. That is not what I'm about anymore. I want to be your fat loss coach and your overall muscle coach. Like, I want women to get fired up about changing their body composition, but the first thing in the morning is your best opportunity to do that. How you start your day. Can you start your day with a little prayer, a little reflection, some gratitude? And I'm talking like 5 minutes. You can kind of see behind me. I've got my candle, I've got my little tarot cards, my journals under there, my red
Amazing.
lights are over there. This is my little sanctuary room. And I do feel it's important, as I know you ladies do too. As coaches, we need to walk our talk. And
Mhm.
so this how I train in-person clients at 4, well, no, I get up at 4:15 and I train in-person clients at 5:15. But now I get up, so I have that time before they come in and their energy is here, so I feel grounded in mine. And I'm telling you, it has made such a difference in how I coach, in my lean muscle mass, and in how I feel in my body. So how you start your morning is, and it can be 5 minutes, guys, 5 minutes. We all have 5 minutes. Stay off your phones.
Yeah.
And for the first 30, and I love to tell women, please get your water in. Water with a little bit of electrolytes, little pink Himalayan sea salt, little lemon juice. Have your water before your coffee so that we're helping flush out all of those toxins our body worked so hard on overnight when we were hopefully getting a good night's sleep. And then move your body. And I, of course, am a big believer in strength training, and we can talk more about that if you'd like. But
Yes.
any kind of
Yes.
movement, just a walk outside, getting the natural light. So those things can, I think with women too, we get in the point where it's like, oh, to reduce my cortisol, I need to remove all stress. That's not it at all, honestly,
Well,
right?
that's not life, right?
Right, it's not life at all,
Mhm.
and especially at this stage of life when we're maybe taking care of aging parents and finances and demanding careers and children and travel sports and all of the things. But in the moment, can I put my hand in my heart and take a breath? Like simple things. So those are the, long story or long answer to your question, Jeanette, but those are like the little things, how you start your
Yeah.
morning in the day. Can you just kind of take a breath and put your hand on your heart? After my strength class this morning, I put on the 432 Hertz music so that we could calm our
Mhm.
nervous
Love
system
that.
Yeah.
after we did our strength training. So little things that can be a real benefit. And that I found women are like, I know what tools I have now.
I
And it just
love that.
can be a big impact on your day.
My favorite thing that
Absolutely.
you said is the energy leaks. I mean, I liked a lot of like, you're in my head, honestly. I'm like, "Are we the same person?" I feel like Jen and I talk about this stuff, it's amazing. But the energy leaks, that is like a
Mhm.
you need to coin that phrase because it's
Mhm.
just those, like, the little things that you don't realize that ain't like, today I was getting ready and I was thinking I was, like, spinning, ruminating on one silly thing about like, very negative, and I just like, I even have to put my hand in, like, physically put my
Mm.
hands out and, like, make a stop sign for me and then, like, change the dynamic, but, that is an energy leak.
Mhm.
You know, those little things, what are we putting in, like, relationships that aren't working or things like, even in your house, like, systems that aren't flowing,
Mhm.
how your kitchen is laid out, how like, just these little things that sometimes happen or, like, clutter. That is such an energy leak, I feel like.
Good one.
So, I mean, I could go in, like, a million directions with it, but I do really love that phrase. But I wanna go back to the skeletal muscle part. Can you explain why that matters so much for women? Like why um muscle strength, like muscle, skeletal muscle is like a non-negotiable for you in midlife?
Mhm. Love that question. That's my favorite question.
Oh, no.
So I think for, again, as women, we've been so focused on the scale and losing weight, shrinking, being smaller, that when we start to shift over into midlife and getting the energy of muscle mass, it can be a really hard transition for women. So part of what I do with nervous system work too is talk to them about the scale and what the scale really means. Scale is not going to show unless you have a really fancy body empirical. Do you guys have one of those at your practice, by
No.
No.
the way? No. You're
No.
like, no. But again, it's numbers. How do you feel
Yeah.
in your body? So that's kind of where the bottom line is. How do you feel in your body? But back, back to muscle. So we need to kind of shift the focus out of getting smaller into getting stronger.
Yeah.
And I am under like this is my huge platform is that muscle is your longevity. Muscle is your vitality. So we start to lose like 8% of muscle mass, 8 to 10 per decade as we age if we don't do anything about it. So I can personally attest, like my mom had a very severe eating disorder for the majority of her adult life. So in her 60s, she did not have muscle mass at all. Began to shuffle, harder for her to get
Mm.
to be mobile to the point of where she actually in 2020, and tomorrow is actually the anniversary of her death. So I think I was meant to talk
Oh,
about her
Wow.
today.
Yeah.
Um, she went into the hospital during COVID for a sprained ankle. She had gotten out of bed because she was so weak. She would pass out a lot,
wow.
passed out, fell, sprained her ankle 2 days in a row. This happened. And the second time they hospitalized her, and that was March 24th, and she passed on April 30th.
Wow.
So because her body didn't have the reserves, the resiliency, the
Mhm.
muscle mass to sustain any kind of health issue. So that's one reason, well, obviously, why this is so important to me is because I have personally seen how when the body starts to decline like that, you have no
Yeah.
resiliency left. And that really limited her life. She wasn't going to be crawling on the floor with her grandkids, right? She wasn't going to be traveling. And I want women to, we've put so much energy into either our jobs or our families, all of those things. When we get to our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, let's enjoy life. Let's
Yeah.
travel. I want to be the 80-year-old throwing the suitcase up and the
Yes.
carry-on, nice and
Same.
strong, and going on hikes with my husband and being able to explore the world and be with my kids and my grandkids, hopefully. So that to me is muscle. We really want to protect our muscle mass for so many reasons. Independence is huge, but also, guy, it supports your joints, your bones, all of that. It also, to me, is your brain health.
Yeah.
There's so many different studies coming out now where they're looking at the connection between blood sugar and brain health as we age. What absorbs the most blood sugar? Muscle.
Muscle.
So if you like your carbs, ladies, the more muscle you have on your body, the
Uh-huh.
more the muscle absorbs 80% of your glucose, your carbohydrates. So we really efficiently use our food when we have muscle. And when women tell me they have a metabolism issue or a broken metabolism, I say, you don't have a metabolism issue. You have an under
Ooh,
muscle issue.
like that.
Because when we have a lot of muscle on our body, we have a really strong metabolism. Women are shocked when I tell them how much I eat. I love to eat. But when I have more muscle on my body, then I use it more efficiently, just like an engine. So think of your body like an engine. Muscle is so tied to your heart, your nervous system. So think of it like it's your protector as we age, basically. And to honor that instead of shrinking and being skinny is your most powerful tool as we age, in my opinion.
Yes, I mean, I think of muscle as health, like it equates to
Mhm.
health. And then, like you said, longevity, like it's so true. Like muscle also increases BDNF in the brain.
Ooh.
And when I look at your amazing arms, if you guys are not watching this on YouTube, Amy has beautiful shoulders, which I'm like,
Mhm.
I've been trying to get shoulders like that for 10 years and mine are not. I'm clearly doing something wrong. So how can you for us ladies that would love to have shoulders like yours, what am I doing wrong? Like how do we get this physique like you?
Well, thank you so much for those compliments. I'm blushing over here. Um, it's funny because I live in Buffalo, New York, so I want to be in my tanks and I want to be in my sleeper
Yes.
shirts because I feel good in that, and
Right?
that makes me happy. And it's gray and like 40 degrees here right now, ladies. But let's get to the shoulder question. So again, my background was in group fitness. Let's sweat it out. Let's, P90X, all of
Oh,
the
yeah.
high intensity dripping, right? And go to the weight rack, pick up the same weights. I would use 15s for lower body, maybe 8s or maybe 10s for upper body. Same thing, years. Again, our midlife physiology requires a different approach. So for women, we now need estrogen receptors are in your muscles. So when estrogen again declines and fluctuates, we need to help the muscles ourselves now. We need to help stimulate those muscle fibers. So to do that, we need to lift a little heavier. Now, wherever you're at, I'm not saying you need to go start with the 50 pounders in your hand. Meet yourself where you're at. And what I love to see is I just got a message this week where my client is like, I just chest pressed 50 pounds in each hand.
Wow.
He was like so excited. This is a woman who started with me where she was having ankle issues constantly. She had to start with bands and body weight. So we've worked together for
Wow.
about 18 months now, and she's now deadlifting more than 50 pounds and chest
Ah,
pressing. So it's that to me, seeing her so excited over a performance goal versus a scale
yes.
goal, that is like magic. So we want to start to lift a little bit heavier and a little more strategically. What I do is work with, and this is how I work out personally now too, in which at the, when I first switched, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so boring. This is no fun. I want the sweat and the energy that comes from, like group fitness classes. But you can really translate that athlete inside of you into this kind of training protocol by challenging yourself with the weights you're lifting. So I work with clients in phases. So if let's say you're working out 3 times a week, you will do those same 3 workouts for 4 weeks. And then like the first week, you're kind of getting used to what weight you can lift and seeing how do I stay in good form. Second week, you might try to play with, okay, now I can go up and that. And we're tracking this, right? It's not just kind of winging it. We're going to track what weights we're lifting. I use an app with my clients, my in
Mm.
person clients. We go old school folders and handwrite notes. But we're tracking now the main lifts, not every exercise, but we focus on some main lifts. And then by like week 3 and 4, you want to think of it like if you were training for a marathon, and that's like week 4 is like your big event. This is where I'm going all out. I'm going to see what I can do. And
Oh.
maybe you're not lifting heavier, which is awesome if you can, but maybe you're slowing down. Maybe
Mm.
you're getting a couple more reps at the weight you started with at the beginning. So there's lots of ways to do what I call progressive, what is out there is the protocol, not just me, progressive overload training, where we're trying to get the body to almost get to failure in our
Yeah.
strength training. And that's a key difference, right? Because sometimes, again, we just work out to check the box. And there's certain times, don't get me wrong, I go in, I check the box that day. If it depends on what's going on in your life. But for consistently, we want to start to really think, how many reps do I have left in the tank? If I've got 5 or 6 reps left at the end of my set, probably time to go up.
Mm.
We want to feel that. I was making some crazy faces this morning, ladies, as we were doing a drop set shoulder press. And there's so
Ooh.
many different protocols I like to work with my clients talking about shoulders. Today we started with that, really heavy weight where you could barely get to 8 reps. Right away we set that down. We picked up 5 pounds lighter. We did
Mm.
8 more reps, set that down, and we held a plank. So not only we got the drop set in with the strength training, but then we're holding isometrically, which is another way to ignite those
Yeah.
muscles. So it's so fun for me. I love putting strength workouts together. Like it's a puzzle. And it's really cool to see how women get really engaged in that instead of just checking the box.
Yeah.
Wow. What would you say? Because okay, just this is speaking for a friend. Um, when somebody has like a lot of like different things going on in their life, they have a lot, like most of us, but like a big life change, but they still like I'm about to move, right? And I have a son, I'm a single mom, and I feel like I have so much on my plate. How would I still fit in these workouts? Like what would you prioritize in this moment? Like I still want to lift, but I'm lifting boxes, or I still want to like if you're like a new mom, like a newer mom and holding your baby and lifting your baby, like how would you I'm just saying, if there's a lot going on, how are you going to prioritize this weight training? I think that's a common thing that I hear women say like,
I
how do
don't have time.
I
I
don't
don't
have
have time.
time.
Yeah.
That's such a great question because, again, it relates to women in so many different stages. And I think hopefully I can help validate that you don't need to be in the gym or working out at home
Mm.
6 days a week for an hour to an hour and a half a workout. I've had clients get amazing success working at strength training 2 times a week, 30 minutes at their house,
Mm.
not at the gym.
Wow.
But again, we're following a plan. We're not doing random YouTube workouts or the things we've saved on Instagram. We have a structured plan, which again, when we have a plan, you don't
Mhm.
have to think about it. You don't have to search
Love it.
anything. You follow the plan. And then that saves time right there because then you know what you're doing. And what's cool with the progressive overload is, by week 2 and 3 and 4, you know what the workout is going to bring. So we're not always relearning every week. Like that was my thing when I taught group fitness. I had to plan a new workout every class.
Yeah.
So the repetition does help with that.
Okay.
30 minutes, 2 times a week strength training. And also, like, think about exercise snacks. You mentioned with kids, like, okay, I'm going to carry the baby and I'm going to squat as
Mhm.
we're lifting the baby. That is a lot of research coming out too about like what they're calling exercise snacks. It doesn't have to be this hour long every day. After, habit stack it. After a meeting, do 10 to 15 body weight squats. After you pick up the kids, everybody together is going to do counter push-ups, 15.
Mhm.
So these little things, they really do build up over time when you do them consistently. So, and then I'm thinking of you, Melissa, with your boxes, just make sure your core is braced. So that's
Oh, I
another one
know.
with women. You guys, you are so in depth with your physiology and
It's a
the
good
body
reminder. It's a good reminder.
body mechanics. You ladies are the experts. But I think as women too, we tend to, in midlife, especially when our weight distribution starts to shift and we are carrying more weight in our midsection than we ever have before, we almost lose that connection with how to brace our core. And then when we're doing everyday life things, we tend to get the low back issues because we're not braced, or the knee issues or the hip issues, which is why you guys are doing all the beautiful work you're doing. So I think for women, it is really important to maintain our braced core and remain strong in the core because that really is everything you do in life.
Yeah, it's like I think too, it's about being in tune to your body. Like, for example, I did
Mhm.
a workout and I was watching a male do it, and he was saying, "Okay, we're gonna do these suitcase squats." And I did it at the hip distance that his hips are, which are so different than my hips, and
Mm.
so I actually hurt my back doing that. But that's because I was so focused on I was out of my body thinking about how this person's doing it as opposed to like really checking in what comfortable with me. So being in your body, being present in your with yourself is so key about with this too. Like even picking up a box, like being mindful of these movements and what our bodies are capable of doing and are able to do, I think is so crucial as well. So
I
I
love
don't
that reminder because it goes
know.
back to our whole conversation about cortisol. We're up here so much, right? We're in the brain, we're
So
thinking.
yeah.
You mentioned the ruminating thoughts, Melissa. That's kind of how I started getting back into nervous system, and really expanding my knowledge there is because of my ruminating thoughts were just taking over my life, honestly. So when we're always up here, we're not paying attention to our
Yes.
breath. We're really contracted in the chest. Our shoulders are forward. And think about every time we're on our phones and at our desks, at our driving, our shoulders are always rounded forward. And then we're putting all that pressure on our low back and we're not cognizant of it. And so and my clients always tell me I'm like the little, I don't know if I'm the angel or the devil, they don't clarify, but to keep your shoulders back and down, your lats engaged, your ribs knitted together. And when we kind of have that perception all through our day, even that opens up your energy. Talking about energy again, how much more energy do I have just sitting like this versus like this?
Yeah.
So Tony Robbins always talks about that, like your state. You want to have a positive state, but so often I see women because they're not comfortable in their skin, kind of entering
Mhm.
life with the rounded shoulders and the dropped neck, and we need to really own our space. So it's all interconnected: the nervous system, the
It
physical
is.
strength. Our nutrition is such a part of that. Talk about another energy leak. If we're not nourishing our bodies,
Mm.
that's a huge one, huge energy leak.
Yeah.
Yeah, the under eating, I think, is or the not eating and thinking you're doing a great job because 'cause you're not eating and then you binge, and then your blood sugar
And the
sort of
fear of carbs and fat is a big
Mhm.
one.
yeah.
You guys deal with that a lot in your practice with women and carbs and then the impact on the thyroid?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, because of social media and all the different phases I've seen that we've kind of gone through. Well, first it was like fat is bad, and then it was like
Mhm.
carbs are bad. And then it's like the
Yeah.
only one that's kind of stayed level is protein's
Protein.
okay,
Yes.
is the okay one. But then it's like also the struggle of how to get the amount of protein that you need. And I know you have some tips, and I think you shared a really awesome, which we'll share with our listeners. The protein snacks that is going to be so helpful because it is a struggle to get the amount of protein in that I think is necessary in order to build muscle, which we want to do. So, can you share a little bit too how to
How?
sneakily
How do we do
help
this?
us?
Of course. I love talking protein. And women will be like, well, how much protein should I have? And I will say that is a pretty individual target where when we really want to fine tune, that's going to be individual. How much muscle mass do you have on your body? Where are you starting from? How active are you? But as a baseline, ladies, and this will freak some people out, I think most women should be at least 100 grams minimum a day.
Oh,
And
yeah.
right? At
Oh my
least.
god, I can't believe the doctors that like, I have a friend that was advised to eat, like, I think it was, like, 60,
Mhm.
and I was like, I said, "Please God," and she has, like, PCOS, and, like, I'm like, "Please God, do not do that." That's like, you are damaging yourself royally by not eating enough, because then what are you eating? And if you're
What's
not
left?
eating protein, what else? What is the other what are the other calories that you're eating? And even
Snacks.
but then there was like the calorie deficit of being like 1,200 calories a day, and it's like you cannot live your life like that. It's
Mm.
anyways. Sorry, I
It's
get on
again, talk
soapboxes.
about an energy leak and keeping us
Oh,
small.
so
You
so
can't
hungry.
think
I'm so
on
hungry.
1,000 calories. I
No.
mean, you really can't even. I don't know how women function. And again, I'll be honest with you, ladies. 90% of the women who come to me for coaching are under eating, which might be surprising. And now think about it. They're not coming to me because they're happy right now where they are with their weight, their body composition, and how they feel in their bodies. So they're eating I've had very frequently 900, 1,000,
Yeah.
1,200 calories a day, and they're still not happy with their bodies, and they're in such a depleted state now, and they're really turning down the dial on their metabolism. So then we
Mhm.
have to work on rebuilding, and that again is a hard process for women mentally to be like, oh, I can't eat more calories, I'm going to gain weight.
Yeah.
Well, look at where we are. We're at 900 and you're gaining weight. So, well, that's not working. Let's try something. So it's almost like you just have to trust the process, and
Mhm.
where those calories come from. Getting back to protein is very important as well. Because a lot of women do what you mentioned, Jeanette, is the snacking, right? Because they're busy. So it's grab a granola bar, grab a banana, grab some
Mhm.
almonds, grab a string cheese, grab, whatever it is. And then they're running out the door. So with protein, think about too, I'm a big one for women. We almost need to think a little bit ahead of the game. Like you would be training for, again, the marathon analogy. You don't just think about, oh my gosh, I have to run 26 miles. You start, okay, I've got to get to this part, this mile marker, this water station. Same thing with protein. Break it up throughout the day. So if you're hitting approximately 30 grams of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, get a snack with some protein, you're going to hit over 100, which is a great start. So women, breakfast, 30 grams of protein at breakfast is a
Eat your
minimum.
breakfast,
And then
ladies.
you're setting the tone. You're going to think clearer all day. Your cravings are going to go away or diminish greatly. And you're actually going to have energy in the afternoon. It's amazing when women start eating protein in the morning. It's like changes their whole trajectory of their day. And, again, protein. 2 eggs, guys, is 12 grams of protein.
Yeah.
So 2 eggs is not going to cut it.
Sorry.
So what
Yeah.
do? We add some egg whites, we add some cottage cheese, or maybe you add a protein shake on the side, or, women like organic turkey sausage or whatever will boost you up. It doesn't have to be like only eggs. Like everything
Yeah.
boosts your protein. Make a protein smoothie, and instead of using one serving of protein, add 1.5 servings of protein.
Mhm.
Add some chia seeds, get your ground flax in. All of these things will boost your protein slightly, but it's almost like you just start getting familiar with how much protein is in things. You don't have to use a tracking app, but you can. And you can just start to kind of compose your plate differently. Where's my protein source? Ask yourself all the time, where's my protein source? I am actually, which a lot of people are surprised by, I'm pretty much vegan. So I get
Wow.
about 140-ish grams of protein every day from plant-based sources. Do I have to be mindful? Yes. And will say I use a protein powder every day to help boost me up as well. So think in terms of convenience. If you have a very busy life, get things already made. Get chicken already cooked. Get your hard
Mhm.
boiled eggs already cooked. Get your Greek yogurt in little servings. Are you going to pay a little bit more? Yes. But do you value time or do you value money? And that can shift each week,
Yeah.
but really prioritize having things ready to go. Roasted edamame packets. And this is all in the protein handout I have for you guys because
Yay.
simplifying, I don't cook fancy at all recipes at all. I batch prep. So every weekend I make sure, okay, for our family, my husband's a vegetarian too. I air fry 3 blocks of tofu in the air fryer. I cook up some tempeh. I make sure my husband has his yogurt. I make a protein chia pudding for breakfast. So it's just kind of, we're busy, right? So you want things to grab and go, but
Yeah.
make sure what you're grabbing and going is supporting your goals and your energy and your needs at this stage of life versus we got to get out of that diet mentality of a handful of almonds is going to cut a meal.
Uh-huh.
And there are some really great things have really changed with there are some great convenience options that are very simple ingredients now that actually have macronutrients and micronutrients in them. So it's just kind of paying attention, being more intentional with the protein, but setting yourself up for success. That's the biggest tip. Have 3 protein sources ready to go. And maybe it's frozen edamame, maybe it's some really quality frozen chicken tenders that are, have organic from quality sources just because the quality of our food does make a difference too,
Uh-huh.
which you ladies I know are all about. So for women over 40, we do need to pay attention to the macros, but we also have to pay attention to micronutrients because that will help with some of our menopausal symptoms where hormones have left gaps. The
Yeah.
micronutrients can come in and help with the symptoms. So pay attention to kind of both, and it doesn't have to be perfect. If I can stress anything too, doesn't have to be perfect. You can still go out to dinner. You can still enjoy social time, but you're being intentional. Where's my protein source? Do I need to drink a protein shake before I go out? What do I have? What am I grocery shopping for now? So just set yourself up for success. And it can be once you get in your rhythm too, it can be very easy because it's
What do
just
you
what you do.
what now, because a lot of people ask us about fasting, we have our opinions, but I would love to hear your opinion on fasting, specifically in the morning.
Yes, I don't know your opinions,
Okay.
doctors, but I will tell you mine. I do not think intermittent fasting, where you're not eating in the morning for long blocks, is advantageous for women over 40.
We agree with you.
Okay. I figured you
That's
guys
ours.
would. And I'm sure what you talk about too is that the majority of the research that has been done on intermittent fasting has been done on very obese sedentary men.
Hmm.
And we are very different than men. I know that's a shocking statement, but we
That's
are
us.
women are so there's my sassy sarcasm coming out, but we are very different than men. A lot of the nutrition research is done on men because they're a little more, I don't mean this in a bad way, but they're a little more basic. They
Basic.
don't
Yeah.
have this cyclical variety, as much up and downs in the month as we do. So that doesn't make for a great research study because one woman might be in this part of her cycle, another cycle. One woman might not have a cycle. So when we think about intermittent fasting, again, think about cortisol. When is your cortisol
Yeah.
the highest or when it should be the highest
In
is
the
in the
morning.
morning.
Yeah.
And then when we get up and we scroll, drink caffeine, are in
Mm-hmm.
a go, go, go environment to get out the door, trying to get ready, all those things, and we're not eating anything, that ignites more cortisol in the body and it
Yeah.
stresses. So we're kind of putting the foot on the gas and the brake at the same time where we're thinking we're doing the right thing by intermittent fasting. I'm going to cut the calories. But in my opinion, we're just digging a deeper hole. Because
Yeah.
then too, women, number one, it's very hard to get your protein goal when you're only in this compressed
Oh,
window.
100%.
You're
Yeah.
I don't know how
gnawing
you
a
would do it.
6 chicken breasts or something through an
Yeah.
8-hour window.
A lot of chicken.
Yeah, a lot of chicken. And then your mood goes down. We need stable energy throughout the day. And also, I think it really increases cravings. And Melissa, you mentioned the binging, that the emotional eating side of things. I think for men and women, again, that's a very different thing for a lot of us. Not
Yeah.
not in hard terms, but a lot of times women we turn to food to soothe, to comfort, and if we're feeling empty, that's what we're going to do. So
Mhm.
I am not a fan of intermittent fasting in the mornings at all.
Yeah.
Do I like a digestive rest?
Yes.
Yes. But that's not a fast. Like again, the diet culture. do it more intense, do it longer then.
Yeah.
And women are eating one meal a day
I
and their
know.
metabolism is tanked, their thyroid is tanked,
Yes.
and they don't feel good.
Yeah.
I'm so
100%.
hungry for that. Like, I love to eat. I don't
Me too.
this is also, like, but I grew up in that I mean, Jen and I both, we did all of the diets. We have, I mean, even as
Mhm.
a kid, I remember, like, there I probably had an eating disorder in middle school or high school. Like, there was a lot of restricting. There was a lot of, like, if I ate too much, I wouldn't eat the next day, or I would work out really, really hard. There was a lot of punishing myself and trying, and small was everything. You had,
Mhm.
so not now, like, now where I'm at, and this is why I love being in my 40s too, is because I cannot do that anymore. I have to rewire my system. I have to know that food is good. I need to
Mhm.
nourish my soul and myself, and eating a delicious meal and sitting down and, like, being present with my family or my friends, like, there's so much healing in that. And I didn't like that stuff because it meant I was eating calories.
Mhm.
And
Just
that
got
is,
goosebumps when you were
yeah.
describing that because there's so much. Is fuel 100%, and we use it to recover after a workout. We use it for our energy. We use it so our body can function. But you just described joy. Food is
Mhm.
joy. And there's memories and traditions and special times associated with food. And I think as women, we've really, in the past, cut ourselves off from that because of body image and honestly, culture, societal norms. Like
Yeah.
that's what women did. And I think this stage of life, our bodies, number one, are not as forgiving of that at all. And then number two, I think we're just done. We're tired of it. Like, I don't want to live like that anymore. I want to enjoy my meals. And I can honestly say, I think for women, it's so freeing when you can find the balance between enjoying your food and then having it support your goals and allow you to feel strong in your body too. And then that just creates more momentum to choose the foods that do that. Because you
Yeah.
know, like this food doesn't make me feel good. Why do I want to eat that anymore?
Mhm.
So we make choices now versus I can't have that, which is diet mentality to me. Like, oh, I can't have that because I'm dieting versus I'm choosing not to eat that because I want to feel good tomorrow because I have some kick ass things to do in my day. Um, Big
I
difference.
love your approach on everything, even that you bring in the mindset piece and how I feel like we're so aligned with how you do things
Mhm.
because you're looking at this in terms of like, how do I love and support my body? And by doing that, we get this secondary weight loss and this increased strength. Like for
Mhm.
me in my
Better
healing
sleep.
journey, yeah, better sleep, all of the things that we
Mhm.
talk about. But for me in my healing journey, it's like instead of looking at fixing myself or fixing this condition or this illness or this autoimmune condition I have, how can I love and support my
Mm.
body? And when I hear you talk about it, I'm like, you're doing the same thing because when we get out of this, I need to fix this. I need to fix my weight issue. Like I need to be skinnier. You're changing that through mindset, through supporting with the right food and loving your body and
Mm.
doing things that you enjoy doing. And it's just so what we need in this whole this whole like healthcare world. And this is a massive piece of it too, is having coaches like you where it's more it can be fun. Like we say, like healing can be fun. And for you,
Mm.
weight loss and supporting and loving your body can be fun as long as you have the right person guiding you. And I love that this is the approach that you take.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me. And because it is such a passion, I want women to feel the fun again because it has been so constrictive. We now want to feel that expansion. And I love how you
Yeah.
share your journey with autoimmune because I think so many women can relate. And you've just taken this different approach. Like you said, how can I love my body more versus this is now my identity and it dictates everything I do, right? It's more about the nurturing piece versus the
Yeah.
restriction piece. And that's why I love you too so much because you
Oh.
do this in such a way that allows women to feel empowered with the information that you share, which is some amazing deep information. But how can we make it fun with your conversational friendship vibes And then how do we implement it in our lives? That's also pretty important, because I don't want women to come to me and I'm like, well, you got to give up that. You can't see
Mm.
your kids for a couple days because you got a food prep. I want to make the habits and the tools and the program and the tips I'm sharing with them fit in their current life.
Yeah.
And by shifting it, because then it becomes your identity, it just becomes who you are and what you do. And that's so much easier to maintain than
Yes.
the fixing and grinding and changing your life around, because that never lasts. I always think of, remember the children's toy where it was like the Fisher Price, and you're trying, the boys, when my boys were little, like you would try to put the square block in the star hole and you're like
Mhm. Yeah.
smashing it in there and they're like, it's not working. It's the same thing. Like, I don't want, if I'm telling you to work out 6 times a week and you own a practice and you're working, that doesn't fit your life. So let's
Yeah.
find the things that fit your life and still make a difference and get you feeling amazing.
Well,
And
you're talking the difference between, like, fear and love, right?
ah,
This fear
beautiful.
mentality that but then, like, shifting over to, like, loving yourself, loving what you do, that
Mm.
there it's a freeing thing, and not to say that it's all just love and we don't fall it back into certain habits, and that's just us being human, but just really, I don't know, focusing on love. I think that's the message I get from you when you're talking about this stuff.
I'm just sitting here smiling, and you have your little hearts. The people can't see, you have your hearts on your sweater, Melissa, and it is about the love. We have spent so many years berating ourselves internally and into the world. Let's get rid of all that. Let's shed
Mhm.
all those layers. And that's one thing I do work on with my clients, is I hear it so often. And now it's like nails on a chalkboard, because I'm so aware of it, where I had a client this week. I'm so disappointed in myself. I need to try harder. Like, this language and how we speak to ourselves creates our reality, right?
Mhm.
So these are the little things that when we work with coaches that can help illuminate where we might have blind spots. I'm a huge believer. I have coaches, and I know you guys believe in that too. Like, we just need coaches not to judge us or not to fix us, again, going back to that word. Coaches just to help illuminate the path and illuminate our blind spots, and do it with love and curiosity versus punishment and restriction that we tend to want
Yeah.
to
I
gravitate
I
towards.
feel like having a coach like you would probably be in like the top 2, 3 of coaches that you need, because even thinking about me and like my issues with the MS, like today I'm noticing more numbness and more weakness, and to be
Mm.
able to talk to somebody and be like, "Hey, like how should I modify my workout today, or what should I do to support myself?" To have that person to talk to and support you and guide you and be able to modify, where if you had just bought some workout routine, you'd be like, either I'm not going to do anything because I can't do that, or let me just force this workout that I
Mhm.
really can't do right now. So it's so helpful to have somebody to kind of walk you through this, especially since we've talked about how important muscle is for your life, for your future, for your health. And this is such a piece where having that support can just really tenfold your health and your life. And I know probably our listeners like, okay, well, tell me, like, I love Amy, everything about her. So what are the programs that you offer and how can our listeners like find you?
Thank you. And I really do love what I do. So I try to bring that passion every day, and having these conversations with women who love what they do. And then we're trying to support more women to become the best versions of themselves. It's such a powerful place. And there's the power of social media, right? That connection and community. And I met Jeanette through community, and
Yes.
that just keeps rippling out. So women, if I, again, stressing something, get yourselves with like-minded women in community. That is so, women that lift each other up and support each other and see the best version of you and hold you to it in a loving way.
Yeah.
So to work with me, the best place to connect right now is on Instagram, or which I'm at Midlife Muscle Mentor. Also my website, midlifemusclementor.com. I will be releasing my signature program after kind of really tweaking it again. This is like
Ooh.
my 10 years of learning,
Ooh.
experience, coaching over 1,000 women now. Myself is one of the women I've coached too, and putting it into one program. again, there's going to be the information there because I can distill that information from all of the noise to what will work for women over 40. But more, even more important than the curriculum and the information, if I'm 100% honest, is the coaching that you just mentioned, is the support, is the conversation. So we meet 2 to 3 times a month and it is open dialogue. How can I help? How can I support you? What's the situation? Where's the challenge? And holding you to it, right? Because it's not just the support, it's then the accountability piece. Because we all need that in our lives too, because we're busy.
Yeah.
So my signature program is launching in May, and I'm
Ooh.
super excited about that. It's like I said, it's just everything I've learned and built in one place now. And then I also take one-on-one virtual clients and working on some really fun things too. My goal and my vision is to host an in-person retreat for women over 40 and
Oh.
combine so many of these things. So my brain is spinning with the two of you lovelies, but I think again, being together is so important for women and finding that like-minded community. So hopefully some big things to come, but connect with me. I am always here. I'm an open book. Send me a DM. I am very happy to answer questions. Love the conversations. But yes, one-on-one virtual coaching. Oh, I also have and I won't swear, but it's called F the Frump because we don't want
You
to
can
deal with
swear.
Frump.
That's right.
Kidding.
Okay.
I tend to have a little bit of a potty mouth, but
So do
Same.
we.
my membership is called Fuck the Frump because again, we are just
Nice.
not owning that identity of
Yes.
declining in midlife. And that is where I live stream workouts and you get a little of
Ooh.
my sass and personality. Replay library available, and I do 2 nutrition calls a month with that group. So that's a little more
Ooh.
accessible point if you're just starting out
Mhm.
financially and for where you are in your bodies. And then, like I said, Lifted is a little bit more comprehensive, 12-week program, and then one-on-one, you get me right in there in
Oh,
those messages. So thank you for that
amazing.
opportunity to share that. I think just with your purpose and mission and passions too, guys, the more women that feel really good in their bodies, the better the world is, and
Yeah,
100% honesty.
True.
absolutely.
This is
Oh,
so true.
I love it.
Oh my God, sign me up for everything.
I know. I feel
I
like
just
we
need
need
to
this.
move to Florida. That's it. It's
I know.
done.
Please
No,
move, and then we
Done.
can meet up
Done
with
perfect.
deal.
you in
Yeah,
person. Would be so fun.
So
so much
fun.
more fun.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Amy. This has been so
Yeah,
eye-opening and I feel so seen, heard,
Yeah.
I know.
respected, loved. Like I feel all the great feelings of your energy and of your mission. So I appreciate everything that you're doing. And I'm so excited to follow you and just see like where your journey is going, what you're doing next.
Mhm.
Like you're a person to watch is what I'm saying. So
You.
Yes.
I
And if our listeners, like I know a lot of them have been thinking about hiring somebody or a coach to help in this area of their life, like honestly, Amy, like everything she's saying totally aligns with Melissa and
love it.
I love how comprehensive she is. So she's the one for you guys. So we'll drop
good.
her links in the
Thank
show
you.
notes and reach out to her if you have any questions. But I mean, these group programs are a very great place to start for sure.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
You two are
Right.
amazing. Thank you so much for having me today. I could talk forever. You guys
I
have
know.
such good questions and are so relatable. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, we'll definitely have to have you back on too, maybe later
Love
this
it.
year.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.
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 Oh, here.